It may seem strange now, but there was a time where owning skinny jeans meant you were fashionable. Celebrities wore them. Stores were filled with them. Chances are, if you were a young adult in the late 2000s and early 2010s, you definitely owned one pair. But then something strange happened. They became memed, and not in a kind way. What was once an innovative style became another slice on the apparent call-out of millennials. How did one of the defining fashion trends of the past decade end up this way? All to turn around and be sort of missed? We're going to look into the rise, fall, and re-rise of skinny jeans. So now, let's get started. Where did skinny jeans come from? Jeans started gaining more visibility in the 50s and 60s. One of the most popular cuts was the drain pipe jean. Not exactly a skinny fit, but much slimmer than the loose boxer pants of the 1940s. Its DIY sensibility became associated with rock and roll, beatnik, and mod styles. Jeans became an official closet staple in the 1970s. Fashion was moving towards casualness and comfortability, and bell-bottom jeans, specifically, were cemented as a style unique to the young generation. The 1970s silhouette was wide. Super wide. One subculture that was against everything popular and mainstream were the punks. They had colorful hairstyles, held up their ripped clothes with safety pins, and wore jeans like they were painted on. This is skinny jeans as we know it. It's not like they bought skinny jeans off the rack. So how did they achieve the style? A lot of men wore women's jeans, or shrunk them in bathtubs to give it the skin-tight look. They walked around in soggy jeans to make a statement. Take that, establishment. And funny enough, 1980s jeans got a slimmer makeover. The new millennium brought in a new jean silhouette, hip huggers. In 1994, Alexander McQueen's Nihilism collection shocked audiences with trousers so low that they were called bumpsters. This anti-repressive style was redesigned to be more palatable. At the same time, fashion was looking back to the carefree spirit of the 1970s. The bottoms rebelled and the tops were cropped. But high fashion loves to be contrarian. Hedy Slimane, who ran Dior's men's designs, was inspired by rock stars like David Bowie, Mick Jagger, and Keith Richards, bringing back the skinny silhouette, but controlled and refined. He explained, "I would turn to my music heroes, and this was comforting. They looked the same, and I wanted to do everything to be like them, and not hide myself in baggy clothes to avoid negative comments." Indie rock bands like The Strokes, The Libertines also adopt the punk style to make an anti-glamour statement. They weren't some commercial stadium rock bands. They're scrappy. Emo culture also gained mainstream visibility in the mid-2000s. Bands like Fall Out Boy and My Chemical Romance were becoming the most talked about rock bands. They wore eyeliner and sported androgynous, slim-fitting fashions. Emo music and styles were somewhat controversial because they were seen as too whiny and feminine and dressed nearly identical to their female counterparts. But anti-emo discrimination didn't stop them from ruling MySpace. On its heyday, everyone knew the emo aesthetic when they saw it. Thick eyeliner, tight-fitted band tees, and of course, skinny jeans. A niche subcultural statement would soon become something millions would wear. In 2007 and 2008, the world quickly changed. The financial crisis began. The flashy excess of the early 2000s started feeling out of step. Midriff-bearing tops, juicy couture tracksuits, and the playful 1970s revival felt like old news. In its place was a style that felt less pristine, slightly more edgy. Thrift stores started growing exponentially, allowing for more retro-esque experimentation. New aesthetics came in fashion, all of which had similar silhouettes. Scene Kids had a similar look to emo, but was brighter and Hello Kitty-fied. Indie sleaze borrowed from the 1980s, but with a messy, cool twist. What they both had in common was skinny jeans. Denim became stretchier, using spandex-blended denim, which is best worn with a skinny fit. Skinny jeans were a versatile, long-lasting investment.
That story's more last week than white skinny jeans.
Oh, little did she know. It didn't take long for stores like American Apparel, Urban Outfitters, Forever 21, Express, remember Express, were taking down their bootcut jeans and replaced them with the skinny fit. It wasn't just niche subcultures who wore them. They were officially mainstream. UK media personality Carol Vorderman made headlines for wearing skinny jeans at age 50. Wow. Writer and trend predictor Jane Buckingham stated that 2009 will be the year of knit jeans. Last season, it was all about the skinny jean, which nobody can pull off and is really a nightmare to wear. In that same year, Barack Obama got some very internet backlash for wearing outdated, unstylish, baggy dad jeans. Besides that, skinny jeans were adopted by all the it girls. Whether it was paparazzi shots or on TV screens, this was the look. Often paired with crop jackets and maybe boots over it. And when you were, say, an elementary schooler, you looked at them and thought, this is what I'm going to be when I grow up, and realized that if you do wear skinny jeans, a lot of people will look at you crazy and ask why you're dressing like you were born in 1986. A lot of these jeans had bright, unique colors: coral, red, green. They were also the look of swag. The skinny jeans craze introduced the jegging, a very infamous piece of fashion, if you could call it that. They looked like denim, but were made from a very stretchy cotton spandex blend, fake pockets, and painted on flies. A definite fashion don't. Unsurprisingly, there was a bit of moral panic around the style. There were concerns that skinny jeans is a health concern. According to one vascular surgeon, when you're wearing skinny jeans to make yourself skinny, that's not the point. What? Clothing isn't designed to give us a shape that we don't have, and that's where a lot of people get in trouble. The headlines often made it seem like slipping into a pair of skinny jeans was a medical emergency. And apparently if you wear high heels with the style, you'll get a neurological disorder. The Guardian wrote that skinny jeans are unlikely to cause any health issues, but they do look ugly. Skinny jeans also got a backlash in hip-hop. Legacy from New Boys stated, "Anyone coming out with a skinny jeans on, of course, you're gonna get haters from that." In the mid-2010s, the 80s revival continued on, and brought back a style that had been long banished in the fashion wasteland: mom jeans. The high-waist look was in. They were more comfortable to sit down in, and paired perfectly with crop tops that were coming back in style. OMG, the 2010 school uniform I had. These shoes, these jeans, this top, these hoops, I went a long way. The fashion tides started slowly turning in 2019. A new generation was beginning to define what looked cool, and one of its biggest stars was Billie Eilish. Her 90s style hip-hop baggy fashions were as much of a trademark as her whispery vocals. It was highly publicized that she preferred a baggy silhouette because she didn't want people to body shame her or be evaluated. No one can say any of that because they don't know. She was one of the first Gen Z superstars, and while she wasn't the only one her age donned in the baggy look, she was its most visible ambassador, curating an idea of what Gen Z fashion looks like: baggy, roomy, and comfortable. And then came 2020. People were barely wearing jeans. They hardly wore real clothes. Millions of people worked from home, communicated from home, all in their pajamas. Depending on where you lived, stay-at-home orders stretched on for weeks, or even months. Comfort was one of the things that people had control over. This is also when internet aesthetics grew massively. People spent more time online than ever before, and nostalgia became a form of escapism. People looked back to their childhood in the 2000s, when everything felt simpler, more fun, and carefree. Y2K mania took over the 2020s. Gen Z couldn't get enough. With the rise of comfort clothing and 2000s revival, baggy jeans and hip huggers started becoming the new big thing. Wearing the style signaled that you were a part of the new generation. Skinny jeans, meanwhile, were more and more associated with millennials. 2021 had a lot of coverage on the word cheugy, which, funny enough, is now a cheugy word. When trends reached that awkward phase of being too old to be trendy, but not old enough to be retro, they just felt tired. But this term specifically targeted everything millennials made popular: chevron print, side parts, and skinny jeans. People gave plenty of reasons to not like them anymore. They look bad, they're unflattering, they're uncomfortable, they make you look old. But I think the skinny jeans backlash goes deeper than that. Be discerning with what I'm about to say. No fighting allowed. But a part of the decline of skinny jeans came from it being associated with millennial cringe. Gen Y has been getting it lately. The worst of millennial culture keeps being called out. Of course, I'm not talking about all millennials, but the specific brand of forced quirkiness, the arrested development, the word adulting, the $28 hamburgers, they should have expensive matchas instead, that stomp clap banjo music that played in car commercials. It's a guise of extremely safe inoffensiveness that felt incredibly bland. And something as innocuous as skinny jeans became a subconscious part of that pile. It's like that you don't want to look slightly outdated, you don't want to be associated with lameness. And of course, no generation is perfect, no generation is horrible. It's more that millennials are the newest generation to be out of the dominant curve. But lately, skinny jeans are currently being defended. Perhaps the hate on them went too harsh. Maybe skinny jeans weren't the problem. Maybe we just got tired of seeing them everywhere. Besides, a good pair with boots still looks pretty great. Fall 2009 was trending last fall. Why fall 2009? Because it evoked a type of cultural coziness before smartphones really took over. And how do you think people dressed in 2009? The first half of 2020's fashion took heavily from the early 2000s, but now trends are taking a lot from 2006 to 2009. The summer is literally 2006 again. So might skinny jeans make a full comeback? I wouldn't bet against it. And trust and believe, the baggy Gen Z pants will soon get clowned on too. It'll happen sooner than you think. Clearly, skinny jeans aren't the enemy. They stayed at the top so long, eventually people would want something different. But what do you think? Were skinny jeans unfairly hated, or was it finally time to let everyone's calves breathe? I have no place in this fight because I don't wear jeans. But besides that, thank you all for watching, and hope to see you all in the next one. Bye!